Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who have been hurt the most. And sometimes the kindest hearts are the ones that were once shattered. But every now and then, life brings two broken souls together, and kindness becomes the thing that heals them both. This is the story of Emily and a quiet cowboy named Luke, a story about pain, hope, and a moment so gentle it changed everything. A moment when a woman whispered, "It hurts too much," and a cowboy answered with the softest words she had ever heard, "I want you to be the mother of my children." Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to support the channel. It truly helps us grow. You're watching Soul Tales, where stories touch the heart and remind us of the beauty still left in this world. Emily wasn't running from anyone. She was running from memories, memories that followed her like shadows. She had moved to a quiet, small town after a painful breakup that felt like the end of the world. She told herself she was starting over, but deep inside she felt empty, bruised, and unsure of her worth. She worked at a little bookstore on Main Street, where she could hide behind piles of novels and pretend everything was fine. Most days she kept her head down. She didn't talk much, she didn't trust much, and she definitely wasn't looking for love. But kindness, it finds us even when we're not looking. One cold evening, Emily was locking up the bookstore when she heard boots scraping across the wooden porch. She turned to see a tall man in a dusty hat, holding a stack of old Western books under his arm. He looked like he stepped out of another century, worn jeans, quiet eyes, hands rough from work. He smiled gently. "Hey ma'am, sorry, didn't realize you were closing." His voice rolled like warm honey, slow and calm. Emily didn't know it then, but this was Luke, the cowboy everyone in town talked about. The man who worked sunrise to sunset on his family ranch. The man who rarely spoke more than a sentence but treated everyone with old-fashioned respect. A man whose kindness wasn't loud, but steady. She opened the door again and let him in. "You can still shop," she said softly. "I don't mind." He nodded and stepped inside, removing his hat like a gentleman. Something about him made the air feel different, not tense, not awkward, just safe. Luke didn't browse long. He picked 3 books about horses, paid in cash, and said, "Thank you, ma'am. Hope you have a peaceful night." Peaceful. No one had wished her that in a long time. For some reason, Emily watched him walk away until he disappeared into the evening. It felt like warmth had followed him out the door. Over the next few weeks, Luke kept coming back. Sometimes for books, sometimes for small talk, sometimes just to check on her. Emily found herself smiling again. Tiny smiles, but real ones. One day, he walked in with a paper bag. "I brought something from the ranch," he said. "Homemade cornbread. Thought you might like it." Emily blinked in surprise. No one had brought her anything in months. She thanked him, and he shrugged modestly. "Kindness don't cost nothing," he said simply. But to her, it meant everything. Slowly, Emily opened up. She told him about her past, about the betrayal that had cut her so deeply she wasn't sure she would ever heal. She told him she felt broken, unlovable, tired. Luke listened quietly. He never interrupted, never tried to fix her, never judged her. "You've been through hell," he finally said, "but you're still standing. That tells me you're stronger than you know." Nobody had ever said something like that to her. She felt seen, really seen, for the first time in years. Their connection deepened naturally, like roots growing under the soil where no one could see. They started spending evenings together, walking through the ranch trails, watching sunsets, sharing stories. Emily noticed something beautiful. Luke wasn't kind because he wanted anything. He was kind because it was who he was. He carried gentleness the same way. He carried his hat, quietly and without effort. And slowly she began to feel alive again. But healing isn't a straight line. One night after a long day, trauma returned like a sudden storm. Emily broke down crying on the old wooden fence overlooking the pastures. She kept apologizing, to herself, to him, to the world. "I'm sorry," she whispered through tears. "I don't know what's wrong with me. It hurts too much." Luke stepped closer but didn't touch her right away. He knew better. He gave her a moment. He let her breathe. And when she didn't push him away, he wrapped his arms around her very gently, like she was something precious, not damaged. His voice was soft as he whispered, "Emily, you're not too much. You're not broken. You're human." But she cried harder. "Why are you so good to me? Why do you stay? Luke lifted her chin, and she saw sincerity shining in his brown eyes. Because I see the woman you are, he said, and the woman you're gonna be. I see your heart, I see your strength, and I love every damn part of it. Her breath caught. It was the first time he said the word love. But before she could speak, he brushed away her tears with his thumb and whispered the words that would stay with her forever. I want you to be the mother of my children. Emily froze, not out of fear but out of disbelief. The woman who once felt worthless was now being told she was worthy of building a family, a life, a future. She broke down again, but this time the tears were different, softer, healing. Luke, I don't know if I can be that strong, she whispered. You already are, he replied. You just gotta believe it. He held her there, under the stars, until her breathing calmed and her heart stopped shaking. And that night marked a turning point. Not because she was magically healed, but because she realized she didn't have to heal alone. Over the next year, Emily found pieces of herself she thought were gone. Luke's kindness wasn't loud or dramatic. It showed up in the smallest ways. Helping her fix shelves at the bookstore, leaving wildflowers on her porch, driving across town when she had a bad day just to sit with her. She began helping at Luke's ranch on weekends, brushing horses and learning the quiet rhythm of country life. The land healed her in ways she didn't expect. The mornings smelled like hope. The sunsets wrapped everything in gold. She grew stronger, happier, softer in the best way. And Luke? He simply kept loving her, steady as sunrise. One warm afternoon, while they were sitting on a hay bale watching calves play in the field, Emily leaned her head on his shoulder. You saved me, she whispered. Luke shook his head. No, Mom. You saved yourself. I just walked beside you. But she squeezed his hand. Thank you for staying, even when I couldn't stay with myself. He kissed her forehead. That's what love is. That's what kindness does. A year later, they stood together under a simple wooden arch decorated with wildflowers from the ranch. Friends and neighbors gathered, smiling through tears as Emily walked toward Luke, radiant, steady, healed in all the ways that mattered. When the minister invited them to speak their vows, Luke took her hands and whispered, My heart knew you from the start. Emily's voice trembled as she answered, Kindness brought me back to life, and you showed me what love can look like. They kissed, and the wind carried cheers across the fields. Emily and Luke's story isn't about perfection. It isn't about fairy tale endings. It's about kindness, real kindness, the kind that doesn't demand anything, the kind that listens, waits, understands, the kind that says, You're safe here, you're enough, you deserve love. Kindness doesn't heal all wounds, but it gives people a reason to try again, and sometimes that's all someone needs. So if this story touched your heart, let it remind you of something important. You never know what battles someone is fighting. You never know how much your small kindness might mean. And sometimes the gentlest words can change the whole direction of a life. Spread kindness, share hope, be someone's soft place to land. Thank you for watching Soul Tales. Stay kind, stay human, and remember, love grows where kindness lives.